You want to know exactly how the biggest and best e-commerce brands make more sales without constantly increasing their ad budget or eating into their profits. Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through just one of the major tools that helped me build my first fashion e-commerce brand all the way to become an ASOS.com partner brand by the time I was 27. It's also the first tool that I lean on when working with any of the 100+ startup teams that I've been a growth advisor for. This is a step-by-step walkthrough on how to map, optimize, and monetize your customer journey so that you can squeeze more revenue from the same amount of marketing spend. If you skip this, you will forever be pouring your cash into growth while all your competitors quietly steal your customers, forcing you to lose all your revenue to costs. So first up, what is a customer journey? So it's essentially every single touch point that your customer has with your brand from the second they ever hear about you all the way through to purchasing time and time again. And you can track your customer journey using a digital board just like this one. And there's a link to download completely for free in the description below if you're just like me and you are exhausted with knowledge acquisition. And now you think it's time for some knowledge application. 99% of founders get stuck in the learning mode and thinking that taking on more knowledge is actually making them better, whereas applying it is far more powerful. So first, we need to understand exactly what a touch point is. Up on this screen here is the customer journey that I made earlier. So along the way, as you can see, there's touch points. From the left-hand side, this is where people first ever hear of you or first have contact with you. So the touch point could be something along the lines of social media content. So in reality, we can be a bit more specific than that if you are using several channels. So let's say it's a LinkedIn post. From there could be, you build out a bunch of these, however many original sources there are, and you can link them all up to the next touch point. So let's say from all your social medias, you link to a landing page, which would be a sensible place. Whether that's a product page, whether it's a catalog page, let's just say that there's a landing page there. From the landing page, this would go to a checkout page, and then realistically a confirmation page, and that would lead you all the way to purchase. This is an extremely simplified customer journey, obviously. And it's going to get way more complicated than that. So on the left-hand side is everything that is pre-purchase. You can understand the journey that people are taking from step to step. On the right-hand side is post-purchase, but we're not going to get onto that just yet. This would be things like confirmation of the order, then you'd go to mailing, email marketing, and then you can go to upsells, etc., etc. By now you could be saying, what do I actually get from tracking and optimizing my customer journey? So let's go through 3 of the major benefits. Number 1, it is the easiest way to find bottlenecks. When I say bottlenecks, I mean reasons that customers don't move from one touch point to another. Bottlenecks directly steal sales and revenue from you. If you're not making as much sales as you want to be making or you feel like you should be making, this customer journey will show you exactly why that is, and it will write in big bold letters, making the task of removing these bottlenecks much easier. Number 2, do you ever feel like you're working all of the hours on all the days and yet you're not making as much progress as you'd like to be? Well, if you turn to your customer journey, it will show you exactly what you should be working on to have the most impact in your business. Essentially, if the task isn't directly relevant to your customer buying more stuff from you, then you can stop wasting every hour of the day working on it. And last but definitely not least, when you're looking to build a team and start replacing yourself for certain activities, this customer journey can be an extremely useful tool for everybody to know what they're working on. You hand this clear customer journey to the new hire and their chances of success shoots up. It's so clear for them to understand what they need to do to help this business explode that it's pretty much hard to lose at that point. I genuinely think that customer journeys should be mandatory for pretty much all small business owners. Every single time that I show this system, this framework to a client, you can see their eyes light up and all of the confusion of marketing and growth goes out the window. It becomes really clear what needs to happen to succeed. Later on in this video, I will go through exactly how to use your customer journey to make you as much sales and revenue as possible. But first up, we need to build your customer journey. Using the template I showed you earlier, we want to chart out every single touch point that your customer has with your brand. So starting from the left over here, as I mentioned, we want to write in all of the touch points. The most important part, after we've put all the touch points, and they don't all have to go to the same place like they do in this. Let's mix it up a little bit. So let's say one goes to a landing page, one goes to a, let's say a TikTok shop. So that would mean this would obviously be TikTok, although you might actually send another social platform here. LinkedIn posts seems like an odd company that's using all of those. Organic search would be a nice common one, so Google. This is all coming to, that probably won't land on a specific landing page. It could land on any of your website pages, so maybe you want to chart all of the website pages you have here, but I will just do a very simplified version. There's a landing page, there's a home page, and there's a product page. So the click-through rate is important, absolutely, but also the total traffic in general is also important. These are two pieces of data that I want you to be able to find for yourself. So these are happening here. Let's just say that all three of those, well, actually the home page goes to the product page, the landing page also goes to the product page. Let's just, for ease, let's just say that's what happens there. And it goes through to confirmation. Okay, let's say you've built your customer journey, but you're struggling to get the data points between the two of them. I want you to watch this video here to set up all of the correct tracking and to be able to get the relevant metrics for this project. And once we have that all charted out, you're in a perfect position to make some very good changes. Okay, you've got a customer journey mapped out. Now we need to be able to use this tool to make you all the sales and revenue that I promised at the start of this video. As I mentioned earlier, we need to find the bottlenecks, or as Alex Hormoni describes it, what's the limiting factor in your business? Finding those bottlenecks, we then need to make some sort of hypothesis, some sort of solutions, some sort of assumptions on how we're able to fix this. So do we need to add more touch points to encourage a conversion? Maybe people don't know enough about your brand to feel comfortable to make the purchase. Or maybe the exact opposite. Do we need to remove some touch points to remove friction because people are having to take so much action all the way from where they are to where you want them to be? Do we want to remove as much of that as possible? I want you to pick your absolutely worst performing section of your customer journey and focus on this and this alone. Only when this is improved up to whatever standard you want to set for yourself, then we can move on to the next one. We work through this like we're pushing down dominoes. Every time we find a problem, this is a massive growth opportunity. Each problem we find is a potential solution and therefore a smooth run from start to finish. After going through this process for months or maybe years, depending on how quick you are, you will have built a healthy marketing optimized strategy for taking people from not knowing about you all the way to purchasing from you, and your business will be a success. So you might be asking, what exactly do I change when I find these bottlenecks? We need to start an experimentation and iteration process. Let's start by trying a weekly testing process. So just as I do every Wednesday afternoon, I have it blocked out on my calendar. I would go back to my customer journey. I would look at the changes that I made last week, see if they were a success, a failure. If they were a success, I'd keep them. If they're a failure, I'd revert back to what it was before. Then I'd come up with whether I'm moving on to a new touch point or still working on that same touch point. I'd come up with a new potential solution to improve that bottleneck. And then I would implement it there and then on the Wednesday, come back the next week, see it get better or worse. That is it. It won't happen all at once, but over the coming months, you will make more progress than you ever have before, and it is actually quite amazing to watch. Your revenue will improve without needing to spend any more money on marketing. Optimizing your customer journey means that every single person that hears of your brand has the best chance possible of wanting to take action and eventually purchase from you. But just to get ahead of the curve here, I'm going to answer a frequently asked question that I get from a lot of my clients at this point. The top end of the customer journey, so where people hear about you first, in early stages of business is most likely to be your problem. Then as your business matures, it generally moves further and further along the customer journey, all the way to becoming you just want to make your customers stay with you for as long as possible. So if that early stage example is you and you're struggling to get enough people into this machine to make the amount of money that you want, watch this video here where I can help you find and optimize your first customer acquisition channels from nothing. Let's continue chatting over there. I'm testing the walk-off as my new thing. Let's see if it sticks.